I recorded this thing sepping detailed knives I've seen in a very long time, and one of the most unique knives that I've taken apart in a long time. Every time I think I've seen everything on this thing, I find something new. There's just so many little tiny details to go over. So this is the RIKE Knives Alien, which if you look at it, it looks like an alien. I mean, it really does. This looks like a spinal cord. We have a tailbone. You got rib cages. It's so crazy. And then this, I guess, would be like the eye. And then obviously the blade is the teeth, the mouth. But yeah, man, this thing is so crazy. So let's go through all these little details because there's quite a bit. So one, the blade is actually an M390 replaceable blade that is mega thin, with like a 5-degree edge bevel. This is the sliciest thing I've ever experienced as far as like a production knife goes. Obviously, you know, this is just like a utility blade, but it's out of M390. So the sharpness is just off the charts. This thing is insane. And with this low angle on such a thin blade, my goodness. It also comes with a replacement blade if you want to switch to serrations. It's the round serrations. I'm not sure how well this would work for, you know, I'm sure it'll be just fine, like for rope cutting and stuff, it'd be really good. But this blade is just so useful all on its own. Like, talk about useful. And you know, we'll get into the ergos and stuff in a second. The handle, titanium handle with a subliner lock. This is a steel subliner lock. Titanium milled pocket clip with a ceramic ball. Let's check out the action, and then I will show you guys the clip of me taking this thing apart. So the action, actually, the blade is the flipper tab. So with the action, the blade and flipper tab are all one piece. So when I take the blade out, the flipper tab will come with because it's all one piece. And it has a super high point, so you can get a lot of leverage up here. You know, so it flips really well. And you can always do the thumb flick where you drag straight down. That does work good. Not as good as pulling it down with your pointer finger. If you snap your wrist a little bit, it really, really works well with the thumb flick. But that's the real way to do it as far as the flipper goes. The only thing is that it's very thin, so it can be very annoying after a little while. Like after you do it 5-10 times, you know, you're pretty much done. It really starts, you know, kind of annoying your skin and starts becoming painful. Not a big deal because you also have the hole deployment that you can use, and it has a hole and a fuller, so you can kind of use them both. It is nice and snappy. Now you can also pinch and slow roll it. Not going to be the best thumb flicker. I don't even like to do it like that. I just pinch it and roll it if I'm going to do anything with my thumb. But the reverse flick does work well. The detent is solid, but it's actually not too strong. But I will say you can't shake this out. It is impossible to shake out. The leverage point up here and just the way it's assembled with the geometry of everything in the handle, it's just not going to be very possible without like a massive amount of force or thrust. So don't even think you're going to shake it out, but that doesn't equal too strong of a detent in this case. So detent is perfectly solid. You know, it's a strong detent, but it's not too strong. You know, it's really, really well done. I think they tuned it pretty good considering the flipper tab and this little hole deployment and just the whole thing. So now the ergonomics are super duper good. This is very, very ergonomic. It feels like it was literally made from my hand. I know it doesn't look like it, but when you get your hands wrapped around it, you're like, my goodness, is that comfortable. The blade is super slicey, so as long as you're using the tip, you'll be able to slice really, really well, but the utility cuts, that is where it's at. If you try to slice back here, obviously it's not going to work out because you got this contraption in the way, so you're only going to be able to slice with the tip. But this thing's going to be more of an opener, a package opener, you know, a utility cutter, things like that. Anyways, the action with the closing, it has good access to the lock bar. Nice little chamfer there. You can see how it drops down. It's not like false shut action. It's just too light of a blade. But you drop it down, let it hit your finger, and then bring it back around or bring it all the way down with your thumb. And that works really, really well. You can also roll it up like that with the flipper tab. All right, let me show you guys the clip of me taking this apart, and then I'm going to show you guys some more details. Check out the blade and how the bearings are actually part of the blade. Well, it's part of the part that holds the blade, but as you can see, it's actually screwed in. It's like a whole system of its own, which is pretty cool. I've never seen anything like this. I don't think they just pop out. At least I can't just get them to pop out. Maybe they do. I think the only way to get them off, you have to unscrew this right here and get them off. I gotta see it. I gotta check it out. Gotta see how this is put together. Wow, look at that. That is so nifty. That is so cool. So this just gets crazier and crazier. Look at this. So this is the bearing system, one side, right? So there's a complete other side just like this. But look, this thing comes apart like a pivot kind of. And then look what's on the inside, another set of bearings. So it's 2 sets on each side, 4 altogether. So this basically just goes right into there, kind of like a pivot would on a knife, right? And then this spins freely on its own. What a really cool concept and way to do a bearing system. And like I said, that's on both sides. So this is one side, here's the other side right here. So this one would be like that. And now it can spin. Pretty damn cool. And then the other side, how's the other side come off? I don't know. That's weird. I see screws. Oh, do you have to? No. Hold on. Do you have to take the blade out to take the other one? That's crazy if that's true. Let's see. So pull the blade out and there's the screws. Holy cow, look at that. So the other side, I'm not going to take it out, but that's the other side right there. Well, I started taking it out, but that's the other side of the screws. That is really cool how that's put together. Also, you can see it is a sub-liner lock, so the liner is separate from the titanium handle, screwed on, and I believe it is, yes. So this is a stainless steel lock bar screwed on to a piece of titanium, and then you can see the pivots don't have any hardware, you just hand do them, so you just do them by hand. There might be a little tool that would go around that, but your thumb works. You can see that the bearings spin also on the steel washer separating the titanium so that it's steel on ceramic instead of ceramic on titanium. Some other little details that I picked up. One, this little guy right here, this little screw head, actually has its own little channel. So you see it following it around. It's got its own little channel right there to rest in, which is pretty cool. You know, obviously these things don't even really do anything. You know, they hold the blade in, but what I'm saying is that it's not like much happens if they were both out. Like even if I take them both out, the handle, everything still stays together. So it's not like it really does anything. It's rock solid right now. Like it almost doesn't even need to be, but it just does. So it doesn't need the hardware. Obviously you're going to want them in, but this screw and this screw basically make this thing an integral. So, I mean, it's not an integral obviously, but you know what I mean, where it's like there's not much pressure in the pivot as far as flexing or anything like that goes. So these don't need to really have a screw head. You can just put them finger tight. Obviously, I would say put some Loctite on it so it doesn't keep coming out because they will loosen up on you. But, you know, you don't have to go crazy with them or anything like that. The clip is press fit in here. I mean, this thing is so pressed. When you go to take it out, like you almost have to, it almost feels like it's part of the knife. And then when you try to put it back in, it is such a tight fit. Like it's perfectly fit. I actually thought this was an integral at first. I didn't even see the seam because it does almost look like an integral. But then I seen the seam and I was like, oh wow. And then you can see there's a screw there and then the screw here. All in all, this thing is wicked cool. But I do have one major negative, and that is this clip. This clip is just absolutely horrible. It's bad. I can't get it in my pocket. Like it has so much pressure, so the strength is really strong, and then it has a ceramic ball on top of one of the rib cages. So seeing that it's touching the rib cage, when you go to try to put it underneath the clip, the seam of your pocket, it just will not go, at least for mine. Maybe in some slacks or some dress pants or something, but my jeans, you know, with thick pockets, it will not go in. And to me, I don't want to rip my pockets in order to carry it. However, dropping it in the bottom of the pocket is actually okay in this case. And the reason why is because this thing will not come open, like I showed before. So you never really have to worry about it popping out or anything, you know, unless if you want it to, you know, but just riding around your pocket, I don't think it would ever open up. So you could carry it in your fifth pocket or just the bottom of your pocket. Other than that, T6s, I wish they were T8s. But I don't really have a lot of negative here, you know, besides the clip. The clip is the major thing. Other than that, this thing is so unique and so interesting and has so many little details. I just, like I said, I keep finding another thing after another thing after another thing. Like, it's just like every time I think I found everything, I feel like I've just begun. So I plan on finding more things after I turn off the camera. But yeah, it's just, yeah, this thing is very, very detailed and I love it. And that's one thing you got to give RIKE credit for, man. RIKE is not scared to step out of the box. RIKE is not scared to step out of the box. They're not scared to do the weird, the unusual, the interesting, the probably a nightmare to make in some cases. So yeah, shout out to RIKE, man, for being a company that is willing to do the crazy and do it so well. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.